So in the last video I posted, I was holding the camera. Now in this video, it would seem I'm holding the microphone this time. All of this, we're having a situation with the setup. We can't figure out where to put the microphone such that you can actually hear me on a reasonable level without me having to shout, and also without blowing out you, the viewer's eardrums. So let me know how this sounds. Let me know how it goes. If this works, then I might just carry on doing it like this, because this isn't bad. It doesn't feel weird. And it wouldn't be the first time I've seen a creator holding their microphone. So let's just go with that. Let's go with this. We're going to do with this. We're going to run with it. We're going to try. Hello there, my name is M. I am a host of the DID system il-LOO-mih-nay-did. We are a system that works to dispel stigma surrounding dissociative identity disorder, as well as provide information for care teams, families, and systems seeking to learn more about their own disorder. If you are new here, we try to post content about the disorders we live with as well, like ADHD, ASD, DID, and PNES, and share things that help others with our disorders feel less alone. Some videos have research and sources included with them. Some are experiential and are just us babbling, much like this one is. Anyway, you didn't come here to hear me ramble about what we do. I'm sure you know. It's been a long time since we properly posted a video, and we still haven't fully edited the update yet. It's been super triggering and really hard for us to manage, so we've kind of thought about maybe not posting that update and just moving on with life. We'll see. As such, we thought it would be nice for you to have a little video that was less about our current life trauma situations and more about how the system is built. We wanted to share that more since we realized, I think, that we've had our channel for so long and we haven't mentioned it once. I mean, we've mentioned it, but we've never really, gone into the details of it. So that's what this video today is for. In dissociative identity disorder, an inner world is a space that alters can gather to communicate, it's a place for them to retreat, and it's a place that the brain forms on its own as the system heals and polishes and architects the inside of it during the healing process. It's not really meant to be a static place. It's not. It's supposed to grow and evolve with your healing as system healing and growth takes place. So if you started out in a small, dark place, it might grow into somewhere brighter and lighter as your healing commences and continues. What our inner world is like is, it's pretty expansive, actually, given the things that we've survived, but I can touch on a few things in the vaguest of senses without being too specific or triggering, so we're going to do that. The primary area of the inner world is the main house in a compound. You got to realize that when I say compound, our living area internally is modeled very much after like ancient Chinese, Korean, Japanese kind of compounds where you've got a bunch of buildings inside of like a little walled area. So like think of it as a tiny version of the Forbidden City in China. That's basically our inner world structure. This gives alters so much space to exist without actually being on top of each other or inside of each other's areas, which also is good for their own space, but it also allows them to realize you are maintaining unity because you live in the compound with everybody else. We all live in the same place, we all live in the same property, so we're all sharing the same goals in the sense of if the main house wall is falling down, we don't want to ignore that because it affects everybody who lives inside the compound. So that's how it helps us all sort of see our internal living space as still something communal and something for everybody to be a part of. The main section of the compound is a main house that has rooms for the hosts, the main protectors, main protectors being Atlas, Tristan, Calliope, Sigma, and I want to say Jericho, but I believe she is deigned not to state herself as a protector, but she does that role anyway, but she doesn't choose to identify with that. There's also separate spaces for the smalls and a few spaces for the teens to, be teenagers. Subsection to the compound that alters what the subsystems occupy. Now, this is going to belie reality a little bit. We're going to move more into sort of how we visually cope and imagine things. Visualize a compound within a compound. It's a bit complicated practically. Like if I couldn't build it, I don't think, but it works for the system. And so say Nim has a compound kind of inside of her area in the compound. We don't see it the way that she sees it. And that's what I mean, where it's almost an Inception sort of thing where Nim will see her rooms her section of the compound as a compound itself for her altars. And that's really the easiest way to explain subsystems without having to have that specific altar explain the subsystem themselves, because I can't speak for her subsystem at all. I just know a couple of the names of the people in it. Outside of the compound, and this is the only part outside the compound itself, is an area that Sigma is the gatekeeper of. She is our Ramkoa gatekeeper. She makes sure that the super programmed parts don't decide to do super programmed things. It's not like jail, it's more like high security observation to ensure that dangerous people don't stray. We all know what it's about. We all know the risks that are involved with them being in the system. And this section of the compound allows us to have them here and have them allowed to have a voice if they choose to speak it politely. They're not polite, which is why they're not part of the compound and why Sigma stays gatekeeper of them. We've already had at least 4 or 5 of the programmed altars come out of that area and join the main compound. So it's not a prison, it's just containment so that their urges and needs and triggers don't hurt others in the system. Sigma will raise the alarm if she can tell that the Ramkoa altars are starting to show signs of being extremely triggered or being extremely activated, which allows us on the outside, or outside of the Ramkoa parts, inside of the body, to manage whatever symptoms might need to be managed because they're activated. In the woods beyond the compound, we have several altars that have yet to rejoin the system. That is, to share what they've been through openly with the rest of the system. Maybe they've shared it with the therapist, and they might have even talked to our husband about it, but we as the system don't know those facts yet, and so they haven't come in from the woods yet, which to us is sad, and we don't force them to come in. Obviously, we're not going to make you do something you don't want to do. However, the torches are always lit, and there's always someone at the door waiting in case they want to come inside. The door is open. We also understand the need for solitude. It was a way we coped as children, and it's a way we cope now, so I get it. I do. Inside the system, we're not going into specific areas for the altars yet, but inside the system overall, we also have various parts that we could call NPCs, so I say NPC with hesitancy because it's not that they don't ever do anything with the body and they don't ever provide a thought process. It is that they don't ever primarily front on their own, meaning they will not do what Calliope does, what Atlas does, what Dristan does, what I do, Renee, Leanne, River. Like, they don't come out and live the main body life. They're doing stuff internally. So non-playable character, non-living character. They don't live the main life stream that we do. They just provide help for that life stream. There's a huge chance that they're probably not mentioned on the channel just simply because they would not function outwardly in a way that would be meaningful to the channel, and the system members inside like having members of the system that are just private friends that no one knows about. It's an element of privacy that I think they deserve, because everybody deserves to have a little bit of privacy in aspects of their life. Now, let's break down a few personal places, because these are all shared with permission. No one in the system is leery about us talking about these specific spots, which is why I'm bringing them up and why I'm talking about them, because it's safe to, and the system has already okayed this across the board. Calliope's favorite spot. She is our primary memory keeper and gatekeeper. She essentially occupies a library study section of the compound. It is a gorgeous building. It's got a glass dome ceiling, which is a new addition, thanks to some therapy work and a lot of convincing. I'll blame her. We didn't have anything to do with this, but she changed the ceiling from the dark, dim, lightless room that it was to a really nice domed arch ceiling where her owl gets to actually roost when it's nighttime near the stars, and it's nice for him and her. So she is much more chill, she's much more open, she's much more calm, because she's allowed to not just stay in the library. She felt like she had to, and I'm glad that she knows she doesn't have to now. Atlas doesn't really have his own place. He owns the entire compound in a way. He is dad of the compound. He knows where everything is, where everything's going on, what's happening inside, and that's his job. His job is, he is our gatekeeper. He is our primary protector. Originally, and I mentioned this in the update that I probably won't post, but we thought he was a fusion because Calliope, Data, and Richter all whooshed and disappeared when Atlas came around. That was originally the incident was that he fused, but the fusion did not stick. It was too overwhelming for poor Atlas. Tristan fondly refers to that part of our life as Atlas's single dad era, but and that's also from Atlas's own mouth. So that fusion sort of broke, and Calliope, Data, and Richter returned. Data, Richter are helping log things. Calliope's putting memories away, and Atlas gets to be the protective father without having to also log, catalog, and do everything else that Data, Richter, and Calliope do. So that's good. He's traveling the system world, basically, doing things. Woods, the caves, the tower, the mansion. Compound. I haven't gone much into the caves nor the tower because both of those are very, very, very specifically Ramcoa related for us, and we don't need to really drag too much of that in. If it makes it the easiest way to, we've worked through a lot, so I will put a trigger warning here for specific mentions of trauma that we have specifically survived that specifically relate to these specific parts of our inner world. If you would like to avoid hearing that, just skip to the timestamp that I'm going to put up here on the screen right now. And without further ado, I will continue into it further. We have areas, we have a graveyard that is in the inner world. We have a Inquisition Hall, and we have a dungeon. The dungeon was for confining purpose the dungeon was built during the time that we were going through a lot of confining trauma, literally being locked in dark closets and chained up to walls. The Inquisition Hall is for a lot of our Ramcoa torture, so waterboarding, pin torture, psych torture, that sort of thing happens. Those memories are held in that hall. And the graveyard is very explicitly because we were victims of premature burial more than one time, and that is where that trauma sits. Now, mind you, not Eris, that's Nim's subsystem. Delilah is one of our programmed alters who has spoken about a lot of the torture trauma, which is why I can tell you how that went down right now. She is doing much better, which is, again, why I can mention these things without triggering us or being unsafe saying it out loud. And this closes the section that would be incredibly triggering. You can put the timestamp here. Anyway, so there's those sections, there's the darker sections, there's the main sections I've already mentioned for you, and then, the kids have their own safe area. We're not going to go into that for them. We also have kind of an amphitheater sort of control room area. Not control room. I say control room, that sounds really specific. That's not really what's happening. It's more of an amphitheater where we can kind of see what's happening, and if we choose to go backstage, meaning behind the screen, behind the curtain, that's kind of the equivalent of fronting. And so that's kind of the main area of the compound. If you wanted to call it somewhere in the compound, it would probably be where if you walked into a courtyard, it would be that main courtyard. That courtyard contains the amphitheater to the front. So everything is sort of streamlined into one regional area for the primary functioning of human existence as a human body in the world. But so far as system stuff, it is a very large, varied world. We just do not... It's very large. It is very large, but there's no real need to go into the details beyond that because of the aforementioned part triggered, warned. Anyway, how it helps, and this is the big part, this is the whole point of that ramble was for. It is so helpful to get to know your inner world and eventually start shaping it on your own. At first, ours was still like this really cold, sterile mansion that reminded us of our abuser's home. It had fixtures and decor that were direct triggers to the abuse that we had suffered, and we had to change that. The only way we could get permission and willingness to change a lot of the inside was by opening up and communicating with each other, like letting each other know, hey, it's safe for us to talk. I'm not going to destroy something that you like. I'm destroying the things you hate in there. Why do we have things we hate inside? Let's change that. Let's fix that. Let's make it less hateful. That's the whole point. So if you pay attention to what's around your inner world, you might notice hints about the things that you've gone through and things that you need to focus on to heal. For us, originally, we were very separated and very isolated from each other. And now we have our safe spaces, but we also have much, much more communal space than we ever did when we first cracked the system. And when I say much, I need you to understand the original system build out was like a maze. It was like a labyrinth. Now it's actual open halls and wide plans and floor spaces. It's great. This happened through years of therapy and working to try to build something that everybody felt safe in. It was also kind of a side effect of healing. Like at first kind of tampering with or changing the world felt wrong. And then we realized if we're adults, we can change our own rooms and rearrange all we want. So why not rearrange the inside? Shouldn't that same principle apply for the inside as well as the outside? So we tried it. It should be noted that some altars may never leave the inner world space, and that should really be okay. Some altars are covert and they won't make themselves known. Like Alice in our system has no real reason to front in the outer world. She has, and that's why she's got her name and an identity outside in the outer world, but her job is mostly self-care, to take care of ourselves, reminders to take care of ourselves. She doesn't really require action externally. Instead, she directs Atlas or Calliope to do something about it, which the protectors inevitably do, and then we end up getting yoked in the shower, and it's all good and well at the end. But Alice is the catalyst to allow Atlas to tell us to do the thing. But she doesn't come out to force us to do it herself, because she doesn't, one, feel like that's necessary, and two, she doesn't want to force us to do something when she perceives it might be something we really can't or don't want to do at the time. Communicating that with the gatekeeper allows us to express what's going on instead of it being a forced situation. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you do have to force yourself to do things. Sometimes triggers happen and you are forced into a place where you don't want to be. But the goal is to have comfortable situations where you can switch and move fluidly between each other to allow each other space to do things. In the sense of space as well, I wanted to kind of mention we've been having a hard time with constant triggers, right? More than once in the past 6 months have I and other altars, I'm sure, gone inside and just cried on another altar because we just can't fucking do it. We can't do it. We can't do it anymore. And the inner world allows for that safety and that space without being too vulnerable with the outside world. We access it when we sleep, we access it when we meditate, but it's the ability to go away for a little bit without actually going away. And that sometimes all you need is a 5-minute break, an actual break, not I'm going to sit in my room where I can still hear everything, but an actual break where you can't hear the outside. Inner worlds aren't make-believe. They're not fantasy. They're not delusion. It's a lived reality within a very real condition. And for many people with DID, it's how we survive, how we organize, how we learn how to love each other and love others, and how we exist. So, thank you for walking with me into this crazy little world of the inside of my brain today. If you have questions or want to share what your inner world looks like, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Please leave them down below. I always like reading them. Sometimes we don't respond well, and I apologize for that, but we do always read them, every damn one. We read every single comment. So please comment. Let us know what you think. You are not alone. Not at all. Not ever. So, until next time, stay curious and stay kind and stay you. Thank you for being here, because the world is just a little bit better for it. Be safe, you beautiful human. Love you. Bye. Here's a quick shout out to our paid patrons: Soul Colors, Casey, Abigail H, 5 of 9, Nightfall, Pyros, and Dragon Huddle. We really, really appreciate y'all's support. If anyone else wants to join the sport, it's only $1 a month to start out with, and you can go up from there in the tiers. Have a wonderful day.